Holy flippity flip flop flapping smokes, everyone. Elon Musk has a warning for us all, and we have to start paying attention right now. Now, first things first that we have to get into, everyone, is recently Elon Musk was asked when we'll be entering into a recession. And what he said was, predicting macroeconomics is hard to say the least, but he says he thinks we're going to enter into a recession in 2022 or no later than 2023. Now, he said this last month. And last month, things looked like things were going great in the economy. Things looked like things were going great in the markets. But how quickly have things changed just over the past 3 weeks, everyone? And it's looking more and more likely that his prediction is going to come true. But he's recently come out with some more warnings for us about what is going to happen with a certain economic indicator, what this means for inflation, and what this means for companies' earnings, and what will ultimately lead to Tesla's share price and also the stock market overall. So everyone, this is going to be a good one. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Okay, everyone, first things first is this. So Tesla beat their earnings and revenue, but he said the supply chain issues were the main limiting factor. Listen to this, everyone. Tesla reported fourth quarter results that came in stronger than expected on Wednesday, but the share price fell as 5%, so obviously there's more that's happening than meets the story here. In extended trading on Wednesday, after the automaker warned supply chain issues could persist throughout 2022. Now, you may just think this is just a bit of boring macroeconomic data, but this is very, very important, everyone. And the reason why this is so important is because the reason, one of the many factors along with the Federal Reserve printing so much money, the supply chain crisis is adding to the inflation problem. And like they're all saying it was going to go away, is going to get better. Well, Elon Musk and Tesla is warning it's not going to get better, and they've probably got a better idea than anyone. And why this is bad for the stock market, because that means inflation is going to be persistently higher. And also what this means is it's going to limit companies' growth, just like what's happening with Tesla right now. If companies can't simply get the goods, they can't sell the products, and their revenue in the future is going to fall, and the stock market has to price this in. And I think this is why we saw the algorithms sell off Tesla right after these results were given. So for those wanting to know, just quickly, the earnings adjusted were $2.52 per share versus the $2.36 per share expected by analysts, and revenue was $17.7 billion versus the $16.5 billion expected. But let's dig a bit deeper into this issue, everyone. Our own factories have been running below capacity for several quarters as supply chains became the main limiting factor, which is likely to continue throughout 2022, the company said in a shareholder deck. CEO Elon Musk said on the company's earnings call that he expects Teslas to remain chip limited in 2022, and that the company would introduce no new vehicle models this year as a result. Wow, everyone, that is massive. They're not going to be introducing any new vehicles because of the chip shortage that is going to go on. And you think this is just happening to Tesla? No, this is happening to many companies. And this is why we're seeing such a big sell-off in the high growth tech sector right now. And look at this tweet. He says, "Can we get a legit Cybertruck update? It's been about 2 years after all." And Elon Musk replied and said, "Oh man, this year has been such a supply chain nightmare and it's not over." So we're saying the supply chain issues are going to get worse. He's warning about we're going to be entering into a recession. And remember, Elon Musk sold a good chunk of his shares last month right at the peak when Tesla hit around $1,200 and $1,300. But it's not just this. We also just got some new shocking economic data. Look what's happening now. Look at this. Trade deficits in the US topped $1 trillion for the first time. That is absolutely insane, everyone. The trade deficits are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We're no longer producing anything. We're just consuming. The only thing we can produce is fiat currency. So these trade deficits are only going to get worse, and it's showing that the US manufacturing sector is getting weaker and weaker. But again, going back to Elon Musk's prediction of we will be entering into a recession in 2022 or early 2023. What's some other indicators that we have that's showing this is looking likely? Well, I found 2 things that are quite alarming. Look at this, everyone. Credit card debt in the US hits an all-time high of $930 billion. And I'm sure once we get the new data this month, it's going to be at $1 trillion. And why this is so bad is because we've no longer got any more stimulus. So people have been piling on debt on their credit cards. People have no more savings, but eventually you can only take on so much debt and people are just going to be maxed out. So people aren't going to have money and there's not going to be that demand to fuel this crazy growth in the future like what we saw last year. But okay, now something I'm starting to see, and the last indicator that is signaling strongly that the economy is weakening and that a recession is coming, is the yield curve in the bond market. Now, what normally happens in the bond market is if short-term rates go higher than the 10-year US Treasury, for example, the 2-year yield, once that inverts, that is an extremely strong prediction that a recession is coming. So let's have a look what the yield curve is doing right now. Well, look at this. We had the 10-year US Treasury at 1.83%. But look at this, everyone. This is alarming. Look what's happening with the 2-year Treasury yield. We can see it is absolutely skyrocketing from 0.2%. It is now all the way up to 1.2%. So even though the yield curve hasn't flattened yet and it hasn't inverted, it is getting closer and closer, and the trend is going to a flattening or an inversion. But everyone, what you're probably wanting to know is, what does this mean for you and me in simple terms? What this simply means is, like what's happening with Tesla, the supply chain issues are going to get worse. This is going to hurt companies' growth, and the stock market has to price this in. Also, what we're seeing with consumer sentiment, with consumer debt being at all-time highs, personal savings at all-time lows, and the yield curve flattening, it's looking like Elon Musk's prediction of us entering in a recession is looking more and more likely by the week. But everyone, what do you think about this prediction? Let me know. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers still watching, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.